and I could write virus like codes and would leave them in those internet cafes in those days. I have done my PhD from IIT Madras. Very little translational work actually happens. Very little technology, whatever research is done in these universities, very little of it is actually translated.
But when did you feel कि हाँ अब इतना सब कर लिया, I need to apply that into some product which is actually worthy for some people and I could become an entrepreneur?
Most of our research, which is funded maybe crores of rupees every IIT would have a budget of 200-300 crores or even more bigger IITs.
And I would request you कि आप भी एक अपना एक छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए because your story is really interesting. So मैं और कुछ बात नहीं किया off camera because I want to explore your journey on camera only.
Okay. ठीक है. So yeah, so I am Ashish, in fact Dr. Ashish Sahani. So I have done my PhD from IIT Madras, and after that I was a faculty at. So I have done postdocs from Harvard Medical School, University of Michigan. Then I was a faculty at IIT Ropar for 5 years. So my inclinations had been towards entrepreneurial side from. When I joined IIT, and in fact in the Boston area I was there in Harvard. So there I think a little bit of tinkering, and in fact my family has a little bit of business background. So probably that is the impetus that I wanted to get into entrepreneurship. And I always loved technology. From the childhood I would tinker with stuff, and I was like the nerd of my school. So even I remember in my I first turned on a computer in my 11th class. Okay, because that time computers were like you get these Celeron processors, and the new computer I was opened first time, and I had taken biology in my 11th. And when I turned on the computer and I started coding, it was love at first sight. I was like. I learned HTML first, and I was coding HTML at that time, and then Visual Basic I learned, and I became almost an expert just reading through Visual Basic, and I could write codes like virus, virus like codes, and would leave them in those internet cafes in those days. To like these will be keyloggers, password hacking, something of these sorts, and so people used to like my students in school. They used to call me like इससे अपना कंप्यूटर को दूर रखना नहीं तो कुछ कर देगा इसको 50 मीटर रेडियस में मत आना. So all that was there. So then because of that I left biology. I changed my stream halfway. I came to computers, what do you call that, IT or something. In 12th you can take physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology or some optional subject. So I changed my optional subject after a lot of pestering with the principal. And from that time I was very much a computer nerd at that time. But then when it came to BTech, I actually took electronics engineering because I thought computers तो हो ही जाएगा, easy है, मैं तो काफी करता ही हूँ, let me do robotics or something. So that way I started doing electronics. I learned, so during my BTech I was involved with the robotics club very deeply. I went to IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras, all these tech fest competitions. So we had a group which we called Concur, which we used to make these autonomous robots at that time. And that time machine learning as such was not very well known, or in fact machine learning the way we know it today is it looks like it is everything is now everybody is talking about AI, but this overall movement itself has happened about 4 to 5 years back, where it has taken that hockey stick curve where every technology is being interspersed with it. But I have been coding for a very long time, signal processing, electronics, and even during my PhD I did a lot of signal processing for biomedical applications. But even that time AI was just in its nascent phase, means people were just talking about it, not much movement was there. But now I have now looked back at my earlier research problems using AI, and I have published same work now with AI dimensions again. So all those are there. Yeah, I am probably digressing quite a bit. Yeah, so I joined as a faculty in IIT Ropar, and I had these what to say entrepreneurial mindset. I wanted to build some startups out of my lab. So when I built my lab, and I got students slowly, because in IIT Ropar what happens is it is a little remote area. So there, getting started up is a little difficult compared to, for example, if you're in Delhi or Bombay or some other place. But still, I slowly started getting some writing grants. So I got some grants from Government of India, BIRAC, and other grants, through which we got our first startup, which is Epilepto. It was a startup for epilepsy or seizure detection, epileptic seizure detection using smartwatch. So that got funded through BIRAC. Then, so that was a startup which I co-founded with one of my PhD students and one doctor from DMCH Ludhiana. So we had a 3-member startup. Now that startup has pivoted into meditation and pranayam, kind of a characterization of meditation using biofeedback. And that's the startup. In fact, at this location in Bangalore, we are running those 2 startups. One is that Epilepto, and second startup is this Magnimus. So this startup is into immersive fitness-based gaming. So we build games to play which you have to physically exercise. Like you have to physically move your body to play these games. We are in a lot of XR space. We use AR, VR, MR. We are supported by Meta, in fact, and they have supported us at different stages of our growth. We are funded by IIT Mandi's Catalyst as well as by FITT IIT Delhi. And both these startups are now almost 2 years old. Once these things have become now more serious, we have some good funding, and the co-founders also felt like we should now move to a more happening location where it is easy to get talent and grow the product, get the right connections. So then last 6 months back, we decided to move into Bangalore. I left my job. I in fact resigned my IIT job and have joined full time here.
Right. I feel that you have this mentality that you want to explore. That's what I feel, because you took biology in your 11th, 12th. Then you went for electronics engineering. Then you became a biomedical professor. Then now you are into AR, VR, right? So when you are moving through all these industries, moving through all these domains of work, what is one thing which you kept going that actually pushed it forward? That okay, entrepreneurship you knew from beginning that it's in your family also, वो एक अंदर चीज है. But when did you feel कि हाँ अब इतना सब कर लिया, I need to apply that into some product which is actually worthy for some people and I could become an entrepreneur. So वो moment कैसा आया और when did you feel it? Why did you feel it?
In fact, what I probably inherently I like technology. Means I love technology, and I like building stuff, and I like learning new technologies. For example, right now I'm exploring LLMs, although that is not directly related to my current work. But if I am not learning every day something new, not every day, maybe and I am not abreast with what is happening in the world or in the tech world, especially in the tech world, I feel like I feel a sense of non-fulfillment. So whatever is happening in technology, I like to be at the forefront of it. I keep studying, even if that's not relevant to me at this moment of, for example, my startup. I still keep learning. And what happens is when you keep exploring, then some of those ideas then later come into your current work. And when you are exploring, then when you are working in your current work, what happens is those ideas can then intersperse into this work. For example, we are currently working on developing a app for a augmented reality based recreation of tourism sites, of sites, for example, which broken monuments. So we'll recreate them in augmented reality. So there was a requirement that there should be some way of a conversation, or some text and information should also be displayed around that, those recreated monuments. So then, because I am now exploring LLMs, so then what I thought, that why not put a chatbot there, a talking chatbot with which you can speak, and it will be trained on the literature related to that particular site, and you can have a dual bidirectional conversation, and it can answer you in many ways. So that way, exploring other things can help you in what you are doing. And so that's probably what I would explain is, I am not purely driven by money, you know. So that's why, if for example, कई बार ये होता है ना कि आप पैसा, मैं सिर्फ पैसा नहीं बनाना चाहता, मैं पैसा उस तरह से बनाना चाहता हूँ जिसमें मजा आए, ठीक है ना, और मुझे मजा इसी में आता है, डिफरेंट टेक्नोलॉजीज और उसको एक्सप्लोर करना, इफ एंड देन इम्प्लीमेंटिंग एंड बिल्डिंग प्रोडक्ट्स. One thing is, मेरा research, if you see, compared to my, if you look at my website is ashishsahani.com. If you look at, I have listed some of my projects and other things. So you'll see even my research is product driven research. All my students were actually working on developing different products. Generally, what happens in research is, you take up, some abstract concept or a very, niche area, and start developing, maybe heat transfer, if we apply this kind of alloy or this kind of chemical, how the heat transfer occurs. That to translate into a product, it's not a direct translation of product. Those kind of things you do research, sometimes it may translate into products, where it goes as a part of some other products. But what I like to work on is end-to-end products, where I develop it from first principle, the concept you are saying, from 0 to 1. How do we take, how can I build something from 0 to 1 completely, and then translate it into something which can be commercially viable. That has been my focus. And in fact, what happens in research labs all over the country, I am pretty familiar with the research landscape. What happens is, most of our research, which is funded maybe crores of rupees, every IIT would have a budget of 200-300 crores or even more, bigger IITs. And what happens is, these research funds then go into publishing papers, getting some research done, and then publishing papers. But what happens after those publication of paper? Generally, most of these projects die. You get some funding, you develop, or you start working on some research work, publish some paper, and after that work is basically, once it is published, then it is done, then you close it down. So that way, very little translational work actually happens. Very little technology, whatever research is done in these universities, very little of it is actually translated into market or products. So there's where my, the way I wanted to change is that, can I build something which actually can be translated into product? And that's probably one of the reason I took this step of leaving my job and coming here and doing it seriously, so that I wanted to really explore it till the depth, that I could have just left the startups to run on their own, maybe explore, or maybe die after some time, or maybe succeed, but then I would not have been a part of this whole story. So then I thought that ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या हो जाएगा, ठीक है ना, फेल हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं, फेल हो जाए तो क्या है, इतना I have enough confidence in my skills or expertise, ठीक है, कुछ और कर लेंगे, ठीक है, इतना. And especially at my age and my stage, what happens is, it's a very risky move compared to if somebody who is at a young age, they have very less to lose, versus somebody who is already at a established government, जिसको ना लाइफ में सेटल हो गया बंदा.
सेटल है, अब जानबूझकर अनसेटल होना है, सेटल हो गया, but you want to get unsettled to achieve more, right?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. So if वो settled job में क्या है ना, linear growth है, आपको पता है कि ऐसे ही चलेगा, सैलरी इतनी ही आती रहेगी, आप काम इतना ही करो, ना भी करो, गवर्नमेंट जॉब में तो काम करो ना करो, सैलरी उतनी ही आनी है, ठीक है, ज्यादा काम करोगे तब भी कुछ नहीं होने वाला, और कम काम करोगे तो कभी कुछ नहीं होने वाला. सो वो भी है. सो बट देन दिस इज ए मूव दैट जिसको बोलते हैं लाइफ में एक एक्साइटमेंट, जो आपने बोला है, देखा कि यू कीप दैट इट सीम्स लाइक यू कीप एक्सप्लोरिंग डिफरेंट डिफरेंट, दैट्स लाइफ, एक एक्साइटमेंट नहीं है ना, तो धीरे धीरे मुझे लगा कि वो खत्म होता जा रहा है एकेडमी में, वही चीज वही कोर्स को पढ़ाना है, साल 10 साल वही नो, बेसिकली आई वाज डन विथ इट, काइंड ऑफ सैचुरेट हो गया था प्रोसेस से, ठीक है, सो लेट्स ट्राई समथिंग एल्स.
Okay, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, एज अ प्रोफेसर आपको बोरिंग लगता है दैट बिकॉज यू आर सॉल्विंग द सेम न्यूमेरिकल्स एवरी ईयर, बोरिंग लगता है?
आईआईटीज में एक ये हो जाता है कि बिकॉज आवर वी आर ड्रिवन बाय रिसर्च, सो हमारा प्राइमरी जो मोटिवेशन होता है दोज आर थ्रू रिसर्च, तो टीचिंग हमारा लोड कम होता है वर्सेस जैसे इफ़ यू गो टू प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज़, तो उसमें एक प्रोफेसर को हो सकता है मल्टीपल टीचिंग प्राइमरी होता है, रिसर्च इज सेकेंडरी. हमारा प्राइमरी टीचिंग होता है, होता था एंड टीचिंग लाइक वन कोर्स इन ए ईयर और 1.5 कोर्स ए ईयर पढ़ाना है, एंड मोस्टली रिसर्च. तो रिसर्च में फिर वो बना रहता है कि वो कीप एक्सप्लोरिंग, चलो इसको कैसे पब्लिश करना है, कैसे व्हाट न्यू डेटा यू हैव टू गेट. Students are also there and they also keep thinking, so that is there. But then what probably little bit brought in dissatisfaction many times is that student will do their PhD work, and after that what, the project just closes, or if there is no funding, what happens is you depend on funding. You try to write grants from government, you get some grants, and government grants mein kya hai na, those are those are given in some way, like they evaluate and give, but ultimately they are also not very focused at translation or anything. They just have to close the accounts at the end of the grant. So whether वो product बना, translate हुआ, वो ज़्यादा matter करता नहीं है. So all that has leads to complacency in terms of research actually translating into market.
Okay, in our college also, when there are some projects, there are a few startups which have been started with some professors guide, right? I guess we have one startup in my year student only, my colleague only. He is doing some biomedical startup right now. He's making a device. So for that he has been collaborating with, I guess, 3 to 4 professors and helping them. So it's really great to see that, okay, in institutions now in engineering, because you also know that engineering college में engineering बहुत कम लोग करते हैं, right? They want to explore more. So it's really great to see that, okay, professors apart from teaching are also being involved into research and doing startups with their students.